Oi boys, welcome to another video on the channel. We just got done watching Samoa take on Tonga and they just made history. As of 30 minutes ago, they defeat Tonga 20 points to 18 and advance to the Rugby League World Cup semi-finals for the first time in the team's existence. Now first of all, I do want to give props to all players involved that delivered this spectacle. It may not have been the most technical or the most tidy game I've ever seen, but it definitely delivered on the hype. Now, to the match itself, we'll basically just talk about what stood out to me. So with these clashes, what we're most looking forward to is the battle between the forward packs, of course. And for the most part, they looked pretty even, I'd say. I saw a few tweets in that saying that Samoa were dominating them, but it didn't look like it to me. I thought it was fairly even, especially for a majority of that first half. It was definitely competitive. I don't think any pack got dominated. It was just a whole bunch of momentum shifts and a whole lot of big hits. For Noah Blake, for Tuoika, Taumalolo, they all had their moments in the first half, as did Hunt, Paulo, Argan Gaufusi, Lingisau. Pretty much both packs, even the benches, when they came in. For Tonga, it was Murdoch Masila and Taukeaho that made a bit of a difference, and for Samoa, the big Canberra unit, Joshua Pali'i. As we said, we liked the change or the shift from coming in off the bench. To me at least, he seems more effective and a standout for the Samoans. I think if there was any separation between the two forward packs, it didn't have to do with aggression or physicality. It was the generated second phase play by Samoa. The offloads was killing the Tongans. That big Tongan forward pack, it kept those bodies moving. At the break, Samoa, they more than doubled the amount of offloads of the Tongans. That for me was what was the real difference between the two forward packs. You saw Tonga try to adapt in the second half and throw a few offloads around themselves, but most of those led to errors. As for the overall difference between both teams, it has to be that spine. All players in the spine, like I had mentioned, have been getting valuable reps with each other. Suaalii, Anthony Milford, Jerome Luai, and Danny Levy, they all had great games. Like in comparison to Tonga, you know what you're going to get with Tonga. The game plan would be pretty straightforward, and I mean that quite literally. Everything would have to happen off a successful, dominant ruck. And like I said, no side was dominant, whereas with Samoa, they have a power running game as well, but they have more tools at their disposal, a more layered attack if you will. I had mentioned that one thing they had going for them heading into this game against Tonga is that their spine have for the most part been playing with each other all tournament. We've been saying ever since they got pumped from England that once they get a few reps under their belt and once other players get used to each other, they should kick into gear, and we saw it tonight. Few standout players for me. We'll start with the Tongans. Their skipper, of course, Jason Taumalolo, leading from the front. He had yet another good game, second game back from a suspension, and he didn't look out of place at all. Actually led from the front, as did Adam Funua Blake. And their bench rotation I thought did quite well. Sonny Luke, Taukeaho and Murdoch Masila I thought had good games, as well as Moses Suaalii. As for Samoa, a few standouts for me. First up, their front row, Junior Paulo and Royce Hunt. Royce Hunt, particularly in the second half, his second stint, the man was just as dangerous as he was last week. He was one of my players to watch in the preview, and the man delivered. Again, a nod to their spine, I thought played really well. Man, Suaalii, that running style is pretty hectic, eh? It's probably one of the more aggressive running styles I've seen from an outside back. The kid runs like a wild horse. Are we sure he's not Tongan? Nah, jokes. We've been saying for weeks now, all these young kids you see playing in the tournaments, this is going to do wonders for their development. It's not just Suaalii, it's guys like Isaiah Katoa, Siwa Wong for Fiji, Sonia Turuva for Fiji, Dominic Young for England, all these youngsters, bro. That's such a talented group coming through. And lastly, the overall difference, the biggest influence in the match is the halves, Jerome Luai and Anthony Milford in particular. It's the best we've seen him play in a Samoan jersey. I got a surprise when I saw his stats pop up on screen and it said something like 14 tackles made, none missed. Nani? My guy, where was that for the Broncos? Nah. As a fan of Milf throughout his playing career, it's nice to see him thrive on the international stage. And so that concludes the quarterfinals of the 2022 Rugby League World Cup, Samoa with the upset win over Tonga. One thing that it does do, it sets up an absolute blockbuster of a semi with a bit of history. The team that destroyed them fresh off the plane. I'm gonna stick by that. There's no excuses now heading into this game against England in the semi. Don't get it misconstrued. I'm not saying they made excuses. I was making excuses for them, saying that the travel played a big factor and, you know, that game against England was essentially their warm-up. But now, this time around, they've had plenty reps since then. Their squad should be somewhat full strength, and we should be in for yet another banger of a game. That's back-to-back games now. Fiji versus NZ. banger. Samoa versus Tonga, another certified banger. Can't wait for the semis, man. Bring on the semis. We have New Zealand versus Australia and England versus Samoa. The rematch, baby, the rematch. As always, if you enjoyed that and would like to see more rugby league related content or more content in general, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to run straight that like button. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you.